Morning, folks. So, Arnold Barboza Jr. is now the interim WBO Light-Welterweight champion. He took a split decision, a victory in Manchester last night over Jack Catterall. Now, I actually had this fight. I scored it 117-111 to Barboza. I thought he was a pretty clear winner. When they started announcing the scores as a split decision victory, I thought, uh-oh, they're going to give it to Catterall. Now, I just didn't think throughout the whole fight Catterall did enough. He took the first 2 rounds quite nicely. He was working well behind the jab. He was using the straight left quite nicely. He was mixing it up. Barboza just seemed a bit slightly off. His timing was off. But after round 3, I felt that Barboza kind of he took centre of the ring. Excuse me, for the majority of it. He was using his straight right hand to good effect. Granted, he was throwing a lot of 1s and 2s, but I just felt he was getting off better. And Catterall didn't really do enough, in my opinion. Yeah, there were some rounds I found very difficult to score. But I just thought throughout the whole thing that Arnold Barboza Jr. was he was just doing the better work, in my opinion. So I was pleasantly surprised that Barboza got the victory, because as I say, as soon as they said split decision, I thought, well, it's going to Catterall. It's just the way it's going to be. And I was pleasantly surprised that Barboza got it, and he deserved it. He deserved it. I thought the commentary throughout most of it on DAZN was pretty atrocious here in the UK. It always is. I've been very vocal in my criticism of modern commentary. I just don't enjoy it. I think it's terrible, and especially DAZN especially in the UK, they're just so biased towards the home fighter. And I admire Barboza coming over here to the UK, fighting Catterall in Manchester. He had no friends in the crowd, or very few. It was a hostile territory, and he stuck to his game plan. He kept his cool. And he took a decision, and he's now the interim WBO champion. So that means he should be in line to fight Teofimo Lopez, depending on what Lopez does. So yeah, good victory for him. I admire anybody who goes on the road and fights people in the backyard. Usyk's done it. One of my favourite fighters of all time, Azuma Nelson. He made a pretty much a career going into people's backyards, going into hostile territory and beating them. Jeff Fennick in '92. He fought Salvador Sanchez as a last-minute opponent, gave Sanchez a hell of a fight. He came over here and beat Pat Cowdell and Jim McDonnell. He wasn't afraid to go into enemy territory. He went to Mexico, went all over the world. He was always the road warrior, And I admire fighters like that who will go into hostile territory and come away with a victory. They'll do their best, and hats off to the guy. Absolutely fantastic. Obviously, Catterall was disappointed. As I say, there were some rounds that were hard to score, or they're a little bit. It was a very chess matchy, like any Jack Catterall fight. It was a real chess match, because Catterall's a counter puncher. He's a slick counter puncher. That's what he is. And I think he just doesn't throw enough punches, and he certainly didn't, in my opinion, throw enough punches in this fight. He's always waiting on the counter. Okay, that's his style, fair play. He is a brilliant pure boxer, but he just needs that little bit of aggression sometimes, in my opinion. A little bit more power as well. He gets accused of being boring rather a lot, and I've sat through a couple of Catterall performances and thought he was boring. His fight with Josh Taylor last year was brilliant. That was a good fight. Obviously, his fight with Regis Prograis last year was good. This was absorbing. It wasn't the most exciting fight by any stretch of the imagination. It's never going to go on anybody's top 10, greatest fights of all time. But it was an absorbing encounter because, it was very tit for tat, and it was enjoyable in that way. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm glad that Arnold Barboza got the decision. So where does Catterall go from here? I mean, I'm not saying he should retire or anything. It's not like he's been bashed up and battered and he's brain damaged or anything like that. But yeah, he's back to the drawing board a little bit, because he did live on that the first Josh Taylor loss. The first fight when he lost, when he shouldn't have lost. That was a terrible, terrible decision. That was one of the biggest robberies I've ever seen in boxing. 35 years of following this sport. That is up there with one of the worst fuck finishes I've ever seen. And then he kind of sat out the ring for a long time. Obviously, and he had the right to. I'm not saying he didn't, but he moaned and complained that he was the uncrowned, undisputed champion at the time, and he was right to, But he didn't get the decision. He didn't get the title. He got his revenge over Taylor. Fair play. Last year. But still no belts to walk away with, and obviously this was a stepping stone to that. If he'd have won last night, he would be the interim champion. Probably potentially get a fight with Teofimo, and and then if Teofimo vacated, he would be a world champion. But it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. He just didn't do enough. Arnold Barboza fought the perfect fight. And I had it quite, like I say, 117, 111, I had it a quite clear victory to Barboza. So I was a little bit surprised when they said split decision. But hey, doesn't matter. He got the victory. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. So, we'll see what happens in the future. Like, hopefully Barboza will get a fight with Lopez. And if Lopez vacates, then obviously Barboza is the champion. So, yeah, things are getting interesting. So, I'll keep an eye on what's going on. But yeah, that's always been my criticism of Jack Catterall. He just doesn't. He just doesn't. Sometimes he just doesn't throw enough punches. Especially last night, he didn't throw enough. He didn't do enough. Yeah, I just felt Barboza did more in more rounds. But we'll see. Okay, that's just my opinion. It's just what I saw, folks. Anyway, that's enough out of me. We're building up to the big card next week in Saudi Arabia. I'm so looking forward to it. So looking forward to it. Oh man, I'm driving my wife nuts. I keep talking about it. She can't wait for it, because she can't wait for it to be over, because she's not a fight fan. She tolerates it. That's part of being married to me. You boxing is there. This is what it is. But yeah, she doesn't hate it or anything like that. She's not against it. She doesn't hate it. She's just not that interested in it. So, she'll be sat there while I'm watching it, and she'll be doing her sewing or reading her book or whatever. And yeah, but I'm so looking forward to it, man. I'm sure you are too. If you're watching this, I'm sure you are too. Right. Anyway, I've got things to do. I'm sure you have too. Take care, folks. I love you all. Thank you for anybody who subscribes to this channel. I never thought, I say it all the time, I never thought I'd even get 2 subscribers, and I've got 109 of you, 209 of you at the moment. Just the thought that anybody would want to listen to me ramble and rant on about boxing is just amazing to me. So I appreciate you all. I love you all. If you're new to the channel and you like what I'm talking about, you agree with me, or you just like the way it goes, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Thanks again. Take care, folks, and I'll speak to you soon.